Hey guys, happy Sunday. So we're gonna do this video a little bit different. I've already had a full day of work, you can see by my hands, and I forgot to film the intro in the beginning. So this is the intro, even though we're at the end of the day. So I'll just tell you what I did and then we'll go do it. So today I did a couple of big things. First of all, I filled my raised beds with new soil. Kellogg's Organic Raised Bed Mix is what I've been using for years. Get that at Home Depot nationwide, I think. And I didn't buy enough. I bought a lot. We spent $100 on it, but I still didn't buy enough. I got 3 out of 4 beds filled almost to where I need them to be. I'm going to call it enough on those 3 and just fill them again a little bit more in the spring. Now, usually I do this in spring and fall, but this past spring I didn't do it. Had a lot going on, as you know, if you've been with me since then. And so I just kind of skipped it. Well, my beds are really low, so they definitely needed a top up. Then the second thing I did is it's finally cooled off here enough to call it fall and get some fall planting done. I planted all my brassicas today: cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. So I'll take you with me on that process. Basically just show you how I give my beds a tune-up and get things planted at the beginning of every season. Let's go.
All right, so the first thing I have to do is get all of these drip tubes out of here because there's going to be a lot going on in this bed and I don't want to cut through any of them or bury any of them. And we're not going to be able to rake and all of the things we need to do with these drip tubes, so they got to come out. The next thing I got to do is fill in some of these holes that were created when I removed some of the plants that were growing in here. Now I'm going to rake over the bed just to get it level. You'll notice I'm not going to be digging at all or turning the soil or tilling it. I don't want to disrupt all of the good, fungi and all of the network of good bugs, good bacteria. I don't want to come in and destroy all those. So we're going to be building on top of this. I'm just creating a flat place to get started. Okay, so this might be just unique to my bed or if you created your beds like mine, but I have a layer of plastic between the soil and the wood to protect the wood, but also to keep the soil and water from spilling out all of the cracks in the bed. So I got to untuck that so that I can now build the dirt higher and it will still be protected. So I'm just going to untuck it all the way around. All right, the first addition to the beds is some homemade compost. You can see this is beautiful black gold that I created in my own yard. And I'm going to put about a 1-inch layer across the entire surface. All right, so now what we're going to do is just rake that over into a nice smooth layer before we add our final layer of the bagged compost. All right, so here comes the bagged compost. Again, this is the Kellogg's Organic Raised Bed Potting Mix, available at all Home Depots as far as I've heard from across the country and you guys. And I'm sorry about the sun getting in the lens here, but I'll figure it out in just a second. I'm basically aiming here for 2 to 3 inches of this on top of the homemade compost, and that's going to give us 3 to 4 inches of coverage over the original soil. Now I'm just going to tuck back the plastic just for looks. What we're doing here with this 3 to 4 inch layer of new soil is protecting the plants from the old soil. Yes, we're giving them 3 to 4 inches of new root space, but the bad bacteria in the old soil that would splash back up onto the plants, they now have a thick covering over them, so they can't do that. So they can't transmit things like, powdery mildew and things like that up to the leaves. So it's a protective layer as well. Now we're just going to put our tubing back, and that's pretty much it for this bed.
Okay, so I'm done with this one. I've got 3 more to do. The tomato one won't be done until spring because it's full of tomatoes right now. And so once I've done the other 3, I'll come back and check in with you and we'll get some of the brassicas planted.
Now I've had my brassicas here under the TSL 2000 grow light from Mars Hydro. They've been doing really well, but they are itching to get outside. And I'll link that grow light down in the description of the video.
All right, so I've been working all day. I've got these 2 beds filled and one of the beds over there. The one directly in front of the camera that you can't see, I'm gonna wait. First of all, I didn't get enough soil, bagged soil. So that one still has to be done, but there was some onions and some Swiss chard and the loofah that are still taking up that space. So I thought, okay, I'll do that one last. I'm not gonna be planting in there. That'll be the last bed I plant in anyway. So anyway, this bed back here is going to have cauliflower and cabbage. And this bed here is going to be full of broccoli. I've got purple sprouting broccoli, and I've got a green broccoli called Lieutenant. And I think I can fit, I'm going to put them 18 inches apart. Now, a little trick, I cut this little bamboo cane to 18 inches, so it'll be really easy to measure. And if I start right here, every 18 inches is going to give me 3 rows, because I'll catty corner them. And let's just get started and I'll show you what I'm doing. It'll be a lot easier than explaining. So I think I'm going to make this front row here that we look at most often, the purple, because that would probably be prettier, right? So I'm going to do a row of purple sprouting broccoli. And I'm going to start about 8 inches, 6 inches from the edge of the bed on both ways. And my drip hoses have there's 6-inch gaps between each drip. So that kind of helps me know a little bit where to put it. I want to have it near one of the drippers. So let's get started. Good root systems on these. I get started right here. Now in the bottom of the hole, like always, I'm going to put some Neptune's Harvest kelp meal and their crab and lobster shell. Mix that into the bottom of the hole. We want to plant wherever it was growing, you want to plant it right at the same level of the ground that it was growing in the pot or 6-inch container. We'll take our 18-inch stick here and know where to put the next one. These are really sturdy plants. These were grown outside. As you can see, they've got some little worm holes in them. I was picking those off all the time. So 18 inches right here. And some kelp meal, and some crab and lobster. Okay, so we have the first row finished. So now I want to kind of eyeball the middle of this bed, which is right about in line with this drip tube here. That is the line that the next row will be planted on. And I'm going to use the 18-inch stick to help me place them. Now, basically, I don't really need to do that because I can see that it's 18 inches diagonal from both of these. So right here would be the planting spot. And I'm going to put my marker in here. Okay. Now we'll start with the Lieutenant. Now some of these are seedlings and some of these are transplants from the garden center, because we had so many heat waves in a row that they kept killing my seedlings, and then it became too late really to plant brassicas by seed here, at least. It would have, if I wanted to plant them by seed, then I would have had to wait again until maybe March. Didn't want to do that. All right, so here we go. Basically, I don't need the stick anymore because I know it's right between these two in the middle. Now, if they are a little floppy at the bottom, you can bury them a little bit deeper than they were. Not too much, not more than maybe a ½ inch. So as much as I hate to have such limited space that I have to get all the summer crops out before I can start with the fall. In a way, I love the idea of a blank canvas. I'm an artist, and that's the most exciting part of the painting, is the blank canvas and getting started on something new. So it's a fresh start for the winter, and or if you're looking at watching this in the spring and colder winter climates, it's a fresh start. Now, even though the drip system is set to come on tonight, I definitely want to give them a good soaking because they are brand new and I don't want any of the roots drying out before the drip system comes on, like at 4 o'clock in the morning. All right, it's the end of the day and I am tired. Got a lot done though. Really happy to have some fall crops in. The tomatoes are probably going to be in that bed until January maybe, and so I will do, I'll be replacing them with peas at that time. And so I'll of course film another video when we do that. The far bed is going to have the root crops and kale and Swiss chard, but I got to get the loofah out of there. So all in all, it was a productive day and I'm happy and I'm ready to go take a shower, have some dinner, and just rest. So I will see you guys next weekend. I hope you have a great week.